Long before the pyramids of Egypt touched the sky, before 2500 BC, the earth was already old in sin. Darkness had not just crept into humanity's heart, it had taken over. Scripture tells us, "The Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually." Genesis 6:5. The Creator who had spoken the world into being now looked upon it with sorrow. So deep was the corruption that God regretted making mankind. His heart ached. And so a decision was made, swift, final, and devastating. All living things, man and beast, would be wiped away. Yet, in that sea of wickedness, there was one man who shone like a lighthouse in the storm. His name was Noah. Righteous, blameless, a man who walked with God. Noah's story begins quietly at the end of Genesis 5, where we find him already 5 centuries old, 9th in line from Adam. He was the father of 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. In a world gone mad with violence, Noah lived in close fellowship with God, and that intimacy changed everything. One day, God spoke to him, not in riddles, but plainly. The end was coming. A flood would cover the entire earth, sweeping away every living creature. But God would preserve Noah, his family, and pairs of every kind of animal. And for that, Noah would need to build an ark, massive, sturdy, and unlike anything the world had ever seen. Noah had no precedent for this. Rain on such a scale, waters covering mountains. He had never seen it, never even imagined it. But Noah trusted God more than his own understanding. So plank by plank, nail by nail, year after year, he built exactly as God instructed. When the time came, Noah, now 600 years old, entered the ark with his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. The animals came too, great beasts and tiny creatures, flocks of birds and creeping things, all guided by God's unseen hand. Then the Lord himself shut the door. The sky broke open. For 40 days and nights, torrents poured without pause. Thunder roared. Lightning split the blackened sky. The ark creaked and swayed on the rising waters. Mountains disappeared beneath the flood, the water climbing more than 22 feet above their peaks. Every living thing outside the ark perished. But the rain was only the beginning. For 150 days, the waters ruled the earth. Inside the ark, 8 people tended to a variety of restless animals. It was noisy, smelly, exhausting, and utterly unlike anything they had known. Yet still, Noah waited. When the time felt right, he sent out a dove. Twice it returned. The third time, it did not. Hope had taken wing. And still they waited, because faith is not just starting the journey, but finishing it. A full year after the flood began, the earth was finally dry. Noah stepped out into a new world, silent, washed clean, brimming with possibility. His first act was not to build a home, but an altar. He offered sacrifices to the Lord, and the aroma pleased God's heart. In that moment, God made a promise. Never again would a flood destroy all life. And he sealed it with a sign, the rainbow, arching across the sky. Noah's legacy is not just that he survived. It is that he obeyed. When God's command made no sense, when the task was impossibly large, when the world surely mocked him, Noah stayed the course. His life tells us that obedience is the bridge between God's promise and God's provision. It tells us that righteousness is possible even when the world around us crumbles. Our world today mirrors those days. People go about life, eating, drinking, marrying, unaware or indifferent to the things of God. Sin still cannot stand in His presence. In Noah's time, that truth brought a flood. It also brought God's choice to spare only those who walked with Him. We cannot afford to be like the indifferent masses of Noah's day. We must be like Noah, intimately connected with God, righteous and blameless before Him, finding grace in His eyes. We must cultivate the kind of relationship where God can trust us with His thoughts and His plans, where we are tuned to His voice and ready to obey. That kind of relationship is not just a spiritual ideal, it is the key to navigating your divine destiny. Can God trust you the way He trusted Noah?